Welcome to the Motorsport Australia Instagram live page. I'm Nadine Armstrong. I'm the Consumer Editor with carsales and I'll be your host for today. Like all my colleagues at carsales, I'm a really big supporter of the FIA Girls On Track initiative. It encourages young girls aged 18 down to 8 to get involved in motorsport, and particularly through STEM subjects. But today we're going to explore things beyond the tools, and we're going to look more at things around PR, sponsorship, and the management side of things. So not on the tools, not behind the wheel, but all the other people that make things go. Shannen Kiely, the Managing Director of Erebus Motorsport, is going to be our guest today. Before we get to the nitty-gritty of your career, I guess, 2020 has thrown a lot at us, and if there's one thing we've learnt, it's that businesses need to be flexible and we need to adapt. And, it was a couple of months ago that you guys hightailed it out of Victoria, as did a lot of supercar teams, Victorian-based ones. Let me know, what's it been like the last couple of months? What's it been like for you, for the team? It's been a bit of a whirlwind, and now you're getting ready for a race this weekend.
So sum it up in one word, which is probably 2020 in general, is crazy. I suppose when, July 6 came and it was about lunchtime when we got notified that the borders would close, at that point we didn't really know what was going to be in the future. Are we going to Sydney? Are we coming back after that? How long are we away for? But, as long as, I guess, being flexible and adaptable, everyone, I think, in my team, Victorian teams and supercars in general have shown how much commitment they have to being on the road. So we're at just over 10 weeks now. And then we've got 5 weeks until the Victorian teams can go home. But I think it's been really good. Like, everyone says motorsport is like your second family, but really you spend more time with your team than you do your first family. So maybe it's the other way around. So, we've got you've got that team atmosphere. You've got these people around you that I suppose you've got this bond with. So it's actually, you miss home, but it's still quite nice that you've got these people that, you have this one common goal with and you get along with. So it, makes it bearable, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess travel is all part and parcel of the job. So I know this is a very different type of travel, but I guess you're used to being on the road a lot as a team. As you say, it's a family.
Yeah, so usually on a normal year, we'd be away probably 15 weeks anyway. But that would usually be, say, a Wednesday or Thursday travel day and then come back Sunday or Monday. So we're just, I guess, clumping it all together. And then we'll go home after 15 weeks. But you do spend a lot of time on the road, but to be honest, I don't think I could do it any other way. I don't know that I could do a 9-to-5 job. When you sit there at the start of the year looking down at the countdown to Adelaide, and you go, I've got to spend 6 weeks in the office. Like, I don't know if I can do that long. So, yeah, it's I guess it's all part of the lifestyle, but certainly something that I think everyone involved loves.
Okay, so let's take it back to the start of your career. So at the ripe age of 28, you're now Managing Director of Erebus Motorsport. And I know we've spoken about this before. It's been a whirlwind, but take me back to before that. Your parents were involved in motorsport, so it has been in the family, but it's not really where you thought you would end up, is it?
No, so I grew up around speedway tracks, making things out of mud and things at the age of like 6. So then I suppose as I got older, was like, I don't really like dirt. And then my family transitioned into supercars and kind of were involved in ways in that. And that opened my eyes up to, I guess not opened my eyes up initially, but I was exposed to it. At that point in time, I wanted to be involved in sport, but wasn't necessarily motorsport until I kind of decided exactly what role I wanted to do. Originally, that was physiotherapy, and then I decided I hated science and thought I'd go down a completely different path. So, yeah, I was lucky to be exposed and see the opportunities that are behind the scenes in a team. And then, as you said, it's not just on track with tools or driving or an engineer. There's actually so much more behind it.
So you did go to university, so it was physiotherapy that you studied?
Yeah, well, I did 6 months of that.
Yeah.
And then decided to go into PR journalism and a little bit of marketing with basically my goal is at the end of this 3-year course, I want to be in supercars. So, and I was probably, I think, 18 at that time. So it was kind of a similar age as to what Girls on Track target. So I think, the fact that they've opened the years up to, from not just from 8 to 12, but to 18 now is really good, because at 18, I went to university for the first 6 months thinking I knew what I wanted to do and didn't. So I think it's really good that it's still there and people can, hopefully come across it if they're not already exposed to it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that the programs that we run with Motorsport Australia are quite focused on the tools and doing a pit stop challenge and pretty hands-on things, but it's also great for the girls to understand that there are a lot of other jobs, and there's some of the jobs that you've worked in, coming up through the ranks. So maybe talk about the first couple of jobs you had in PR and then through to sponsorship and marketing.
I've pretty much done, I've worked for smaller teams and for, I guess, larger scale teams. In saying that, the larger scale team in supercars is, 50 people. It's nothing like Formula One or anything like that. But which is basically seen me anything that could be done in an office, really, is, I suppose, an easy way to put it. I've booked flights. I've, helped with memberships. So I guess there's a sales part of the business. It is more than just the sport, it's a business. The social media, the media side, PR, helping with sponsorship, which is the most crucial part of the business, because without sponsors and without the money, we can't go racing. So I think working for smaller teams, and particularly Erebus, I joined them at the middle of 2016, and we were quite young then when the team relocated, and it was really just me and one other. So I think having the opportunity to dig myself into multiple things, I loved the opportunity. And I think obviously with my new role now, it kind of showed Betty what I could do and the ability that I potentially had, I suppose.
Yeah. Would you say you're a particularly competitive person? I mean, it's a very competitive on the track. What about, what does it take? What are some of the qualities that it takes to actually, not only survive but succeed in a motorsport team?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely competitive. Whether it's not, on track, obviously that's a big side of it, as you said. If you want to be winning and the best and the fastest out there, but even in the PR world, in that space, I've always looked at other teams and, I want to have the best livery and I want to have the best PR campaign and the best video, and you're still competitive. Like, you want to beat everyone off track as well. So that's always been a big thing. But in terms of other qualities, like teamwork, as I said, is massive. You spend so much time with these people that you all need to get along and be able to work with each other and have the same ethos. And then also passion. Basically, I think that goes just in life. If you have passion for whatever you're doing, really you're going to succeed.
Some of the biggest challenges being a female in motorsport are the guys around you generally supportive? And is there a little bit of that, some of your perceived versus reality? Like, are there real barriers, or is it just a case that as girls have grown up that we've never really seen that as a career path? It's not as if there are barriers to being part of a motorsport team.
Yeah, I don't think that. Like, I think there potentially people see that, but it's not that there is. And I think it's probably girls just having that belief in themselves that, I want to do it and that's what I'm going to go do, because if they want to do it, there's no reason they can't. So it's just having that belief in themselves and that passion to want to go and do it. And the boys, like, I'm at the moment, I'm on the road with 12 other guys and I'm the only female, which, usually we have a couple more mechanics and commercial people, and as well as Betty. But at the moment, I'm the only one. So I keep saying that MD actually stands for Mother Duck. But I think it's just, even though my role is my role, it's just, I guess not be precious. We're small in numbers at the moment. So basically just I've been doing everything I can to help the team in any way. And whether that's running to the truck to try and find a part that I never even heard of, but I'll figure it out and get it for them and make sure I, help them as best as I can. And then it's kind of, that sort of stuff builds their respect as well. So, it's showing that you're not just a pretty face, but first believe in yourself and then they'll believe in you as well.
Are there elements of the job, and we've spoken before about, I think, the sponsorship role. I think people forget that, like you say, you know, all those stickers over the car, you know, it takes a lot of hard work to get them there, and without those, there wouldn't be money and there wouldn't be a team. So talk a little bit about managing stakeholders and you know, the role of sort of PR and sponsorship there.
Yeah, so I guess it is probably the biggest part, or the most important part of going racing. So obviously, you know, trying to find those people with the same goals, I guess, that, you know, want to come racing with us, our partners, and then obviously, you know, servicing them. So what are their requirements? What exactly do they want to get out of it? And that might be branding, that might be activating, that might be a range of things. It's not just a sticker on a car. So you've got to be creative, I suppose, in, you know, figuring out how they can get the best bang for their buck, which is not just, as I said, a sign on a car. There's so much more than it these days. So, you know, there is a team working behind the scenes, whether that's the social media or the PR or the activations. Like there are different roles where girls or anyone can find that is really, that's what they enjoy. And
do you see that there are a lot of skills that are well leveraged or easily transferable from other industries into motorsport, particularly in that PR sponsorship field?
I always say multitasking. In supercars, we're always forward planning, though at the same time we'll be forward planning for, say, the end of this year, or, you know, working on something for Bathurst, or even beyond that next year. But then we'll be at Tail and Bend this week. So it's like you've got that forward plan, but then you've also got to be a multitask because you're working on so many things at once. So I think they're two that are really important. As I mentioned before, passion. If you're passionate about anything, you can do it. You can put your mind to it. And relationships as well, especially in the PR sponsorship side of things. It's all about relationship building. And if you have that relationship with whoever it may be, particularly your partner, then hopefully they'll stay along for the ride with you.
We talk a lot about courage for the Dare to be Different, the Girls On Track program, you know, telling girls to be different and have the courage to you know, break the mold a little bit. And I think you're doing that well. And we're seeing more and more females trackside, and we know that there are even more of them, you know, that we don't see, you know, behind the scenes. What are some of the things you think we can really do to sort of push this forward even quicker? I know the FIA Girls On Track initiative is fantastic, and we're really encouraging people to get behind that next year when we can be face-to-face again. But, you know, if we think about people that are watching now with their kids that might be slightly interested, or some of the messages that we want to get out there.
Girls that want to get it, like, you're never too young or too old to do anything in motorsport. So whether you want to come work experience at a young age, or you're an older lady that wants to go work down Winton on a Saturday at a local state round sort of thing, at the local car club, there's always an opportunity. You've just got to want to find it. And then I think, as you know, certainly see girls around the paddock in at any level, whether that's club level or the top tier levels. But I think, as you know, with programs like Girls On Track, you definitely are seeing more of those girls, I guess, as a face, where in the past have been, I guess, more behind the scenes. You usually see, you know, your engineers and your drivers, they're always the face of the team, but there are so many people working behind it. And especially with my team, I think at Adelaide, when we were a normal number, we had 27. I think there was 7 girls there. So, you know, the percentage is actually very high. It's just not necessarily being seen because there are so many people behind the scenes that don't get seen, unfortunately.
In the position that you're now in, you know, one of the top positions, what do you find some of the biggest challenges in terms of managing a team?
It's probably a little bit hard to say in this COVID world. I kind of got the promotion within a couple of weeks. We're on the road. So at the moment, there's so much going on. Everything's changing so much, but it's just, I guess, being adaptable and flexible, as you said. But at the moment, just ensuring everything is done is quite challenging. Like, there is so much that needs to be done to run a race. But usually we get that time between rounds to go back and workshop for 1 or 2 weeks and sit down, debrief and go through it again. Whereas at the moment, where we go to Tail and Bend in an hour. We'll finish racing on Sunday, and then we've got 4 days to re-prepare again. So the biggest challenge at the moment is not having that downtime that we usually would. I think that's a COVID world. So maybe next year when we're at a proper event, ask me when we're in a normal world, and I might have a different answer.
Tell me what your next few days are going to be like. You're literally pulled over on the side of the road. You're about to go and check in at the Bend, and then is it just all hands on deck, unpacking?
We'll unload, get the garage set up. We'll do some practice, things like that, and we basically run into the weekend. It's because there aren't as many support categories as there usually would be. It is basically back to back, but the last few rounds, basically since we fled the border, I've been basically doing anything. As I said, you just kind of, you take on that mother duck role, and just ensuring that the teams, they're fed, they're everything they need. I'm cutting up finger buns for morning tea, and then I'm helping spin breaks and things during sessions, because there's just basically the more hands on deck, the better. So plus Jen doing the PR media role, and then the new role as well. So it's probably not, I haven't transitioned entirely to that new role yet because of COVID. I'm still kind of doing my old role plus a little bit of the new one, and then just helping doing anything I can. Certainly everyone looks at it, so it's a dream holiday, dream job. You get to go on holidays all the year, and it's not quite like that. You do get to go to some pretty cool places, but we are there to work. I don't want to scare people off and say it's very unglamorous. I guess it's what you expect if you've grown up around it. They're long hours, and you can't be scared to get dirty. But yeah, I think it's brilliant. And anyone that is in it loves it. Anyone that wants to give it a go definitely should too.
Like me, anyone that watched the Erebus documentary probably thinks they're an expert on the team now, but we all know how editing works, and how was that compared to sort of a real day in the life of being in the team? And
so we had a videographer follow us for the entire season. Any time we were at track, there was a camera around, so you got to think there was probably over 300 to 400 hours of vision that was put into 8 42-minute episodes. So there was a lot missing. They did definitely capture the entertaining parts, but yeah, I wouldn't, everyone's passionate, and I think that's what you saw. If you don't quite understand some of the things, and people go, oh, Barry looks a bit harsh or anything. It's just passionate, and they do their job the best they can. So that's making the car go faster, or whatever that may be, as I said, in different elements of the team. But we are actually doing a second documentary, not inside line, but we've decided that we want to show more of the people behind the scenes, I guess similar to what we were talking about before, but show the people behind the scenes and their lives, and I guess more, not so much the racing part of it, actually the people and the team part of motorsport. So that's a new doco that we're working on called Access Areas. Because of COVID, I have no idea when it will come out, but next year sometime, I'm not really sure, but I think that'll be really cool, and that will show a different layer to what we saw in the first one.
You talk about passion a lot, but what makes someone really go to work? You spend a lot of time away from home, you're a real family. What are some of the things that really make people get up every morning and want to be part of this team? It
sounds so silly and cliche, I suppose, and it's not. I don't want to be cliche at all, but I think it's just you've got to be passionate for anything you do in life, and especially when we are away from home, not even in a real world, for days at a time or weeks at a time at the moment. We do long hours. You do spend a lot of time with these people. So I think passion, or the want to do something, which is passion. But yeah, it's really important, because I think then you can do anything. If you want to go and be the next female driver, then go do it, or whatever you want to do, even if it's outside, or just having that passion. And I think don't underestimate yourself. At the end of 2013, when I was moving down here to Melbourne, I never thought at the ripe old age of 28, as you say, that I would be in the position I'm in. So it's just, I think don't underestimate yourself is a massive thing, which I'm still learning. So, and I don't think you do stop learning. You got to learn off the people around you as well. Like, I'm lucky that I've got Betty around me, who is amazing, and she's the real mother of the team. She's great, but she's also very smart. She's such a lovely and family-orientated person, but she's very business too. I can't wait to, catch up with her properly in a non-COVID world, because I actually haven't seen her since the Friday of Grand Prix.
Oh, wow.
But properly and start to learn off her, and, just absorb as much as you can from anyone around you, and, don't underestimate yourself, because you can do anything. Even if you're a competitor, like, on track we want to beat each other, and we don't, there's a lot of competitiveness and rivalry between the teams, but as soon as we're off the track, everyone's there to help each other, and they're there for each other. If you need a part, Townsville unfortunately had a crash. I ran down to one of the Triple Eight boys and I said, I don't know who to ask, and I don't know what a beaver panel is, but can I please have one? And he gave me one. He was like, no worries. And I ran on my merry way back to the team, trying to help out as best I could. But they're all there to help each other. We're all there for the good sport, and we've seen that as well in all the Victorian teams, and even Queensland teams. What they've done all of supercars in this time, just wanting to do it for the good of everyone involved.
For anyone that is really keen in learning more about the FIA Girls On Track initiative, go to motorsport.org.au, and there's a page on there that you can register. Schools can register direct with Motorsport Australia. It is a free program. It's an amazing program, and thank you so much, Shannon. Good luck for the weekend.
Thank you very much, and I hope to see more girls at our workshop and pits next year, and definitely more girls involved in the Girls On Track in 2021, when we can finally see you properly, not just virtually.
And if you see Shannon around the pits, yell out, and I'm sure she'll come say
definitely
hi. More tips. So
will do.
I think that, at the end, girls, don't underestimate yourself, and really back yourself, and you can do anything. So have a great weekend, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, guys.